You're listening to the DTF podcast, Down to Fitness, where we turn personal trainers into fitness professionals. We're your hosts, Dayton McPherson and Kyle Radune. Hey, cheers, buddy.
Hey, boom.
Oh, nice. It's nice to have a drink with you. Usually we film on Sunday mornings, but now we're filming on Friday night, which is kind of nice.
Friday night has a different vibe, and I feel like I'm a little different energy level, right? Like the week kind of beats you up a little bit. By Sunday, I'm kind of recharged. Like Sunday morning, I'm like, let's go. So Friday, I'm a little beat. I'm a little tired. However, I'm really excited to not be doing this on the weekend too, because it's it's Friday, having a little drink, living a little, let our hair down, if you will.
So I have a quick story for you before we get into this episode. So I was down in Raleigh for the last couple of days, and I always download movies and stuff on my phone.
Love Raleigh.
Raleigh, North Carolina. Let's go. So the movie that I watched was called The Machine, I think, and it features Bert Kreischer. And Bert Kreischer is a comedian, and he has a podcast called Two Bears, One Cave with Tom Segura. And it's really funny because Bert Kreischer reminds me of me a little bit. And Tom Segura is you. Like, Tom is very reserved, always says the right things, pulls the podcast back in. And I'm like the wild card, where I'll say whatever. I'm the one drinking cocktails and things like that when we do all these podcasts. And it just made me laugh and smile. And, we film usually in batches, and we haven't filmed in 2 or 3 weeks. And it just made me miss you a lot, buddy.
Aw.
Well, so, this drink is for you.
Cheers, bud.
Cheers.
So I don't know who that is, but I love that I'm the reserved one, because it's funny. I'm reserved when it's compared to you, but compared to some other people, I actually like to fly off the handle. And I think what happens is we're kind of that chameleon, we kind of fit in a role that we need to be at that present time. So when you're flying off the handle, I'm like, all right, we're going to pull this thing back in. But I know for sure, and we've talked about some old stories at work that we'll keep that off air. But there's sometimes I've flown off the handle and you've been there to be reel me back in, Kyle. So,
but my flying off the handle is much more broad, and yours is far and few between, if I can be honest.
No, 100%. No, I totally get you.
You like my sign? Wait, this one. You like my sign?
A member of the year. Now, I know you've been Employee of the Year a few times, but Member of the Year, that's a new one.
I stole that when we, not stole, we shut down the center, and that was back in one of the offices, and I was like, are we going to do anything with this? And they said, nope. So I decided that I was going to take it, and it's a little piece of memorabilia for myself to remind me of the good old days at Divine Street.
Divine Street. Shout out Haven.
Hey,
rest in peace.
So what are we doing today, man?
Well, you talk about these personality traits between the two of us, and it makes me kind of want to ask you a little bit about yourself. So maybe we do a little bio episode.
Oh, sick, man. Yes, please. Ask away. You know me. I love to talk about myself. So anything that you want to ask, I think is going to be great. It's going to be fun. We've had a cocktail, and suddenly the episode gets a little bit better.
It always gets better with a drink. So I think it's important now. We've been going at this podcast now 10 months. And I think this is somewhere almost 40 episodes. So we do one a week. Got to get to 52 for our 1-year anniversary. We got the holidays around the corner. We have some good stuff coming up with Black Friday and the Thanksgiving and the holidays and New Year's. So it's going to get a little hectic over the holiday season here. So I think today it's about time that we told everyone about who we are. They found the podcast. We got some listeners now. And it's why do you even want to listen to us? Because we just
I don't know. Yeah. If we had no listeners, I would still do this and just talk shop with you all day long, man.
So I want to kick this off, start with some of the basics, and then we'll dive into, I know there's some fun things that I want to ask you about. But some of the basics, where are you from, relationship, who is Dayton? When you get out of bed in the morning, what makes you Dayton?
Cool. So I am 32 years old, or 32 years young. I was born in Maine, Presque Isle, Maine, which is like a Hoboken town. There's maybe a grocery store and a Tim Hortons. No Dunkin' Donuts. There's no Burger King. Nothing like that. Everything on the street is closed down, like with newspaper up. Moved to Portland when I was about 5 or 6 years old, Portland, Maine. Went to high school around that area in Buxton, Maine until I was 21. And then from there, I moved down to Worcester, Massachusetts, where I got my bachelor's degree at Assumption College. I spent, I'm going to say, quote unquote, 4 years at Assumption College. And Kyle will probably ask me about that in a little bit. Where I met my girlfriend, now wife, and we live in Connecticut. We lived in Rhode Island for a little bit as well. Currently live by myself with my wife and our dog. No kids, nothing like that. We live in a house, and yeah, I mean, middle of Connecticut, so I can get around to a lot of our personal training centers as easily as I can. And there's a little bit of background about me. What else do you want to know, bud?
Well, so I want to start with the basics. I think everyone's kind of like, who's Dayton? But what I want to talk about is, so you mentioned your time in college. So what did you go to school for?
So I started off with pre-med and then realized that I was really dumb. Way too dumb. I couldn't do it. I took all the same classes, organic chemistry, biology, kinesthetics, all that stuff. So after I realized that I wasn't going to get into med school, I then thought to myself, well, maybe I can get into physical therapy school. My grades still weren't good enough. I wasn't a partier in college, but tests aren't my best thing. I can really get in to doing things, but actually sitting and reading and then putting that knowledge to paper is not my forte. So after I graduated, I thought that I was going to go to physical therapy aide or assistant school. I applied, I got in, and about 4 to 3 weeks before I was supposed to go, I emailed them and said, hey, I haven't gotten any information from you. I was accepted. And when I emailed the guy, I don't know if I've ever told anybody this story besides my wife and maybe my parents. When I emailed the guy and told him, hey, I haven't gotten anything, he literally responded back to me and said, I don't know who you are. And I was like, okay. I was like, I'm not going. That was the big thing to me. It's this is not the right path for you. If this school doesn't even know that you were accepted. Yes, I got accepted. Yes, I had an acceptance letter. I was like, I'm not doing this. So then I went and got my personal training certification, and the rest is history.
Well, so I think it's funny you mentioned you weren't the best test taker, and I can't help but think that most of us that ended up in personal training, we all are kind of have that same background. I know a lot of really great trainers. We're hands-on people. We want to act. We want to show. We want to use our hands. We want to touch stuff. So it doesn't really surprise me. Now, you said you had 4 years at Assumption College, but was your entire college career in the U.S.? Because I wanted to ask you about a little bit of some abroad schooling that you did, because that's really cool and fun.
Yeah. So I went to Assumption College. I spent my first, I want to say 2 full years there, and I was just really bored. It felt like I was in high school again, because my high school was pretty big, about 1,200 people. My college had about 2,000. So I was seeing the same people every single day. I had the same lab partner all 2 years, and I decided that I was going to study abroad in Ireland to get a little bit more culture. I went over, and when I was there, one of the very first weeks that I was there, I was wearing a football shirt from my high school, because that's what you do when you're 19 years old. You think you're cool, and it will correlate over there. And some big guy walks up to me, puts his arm around me. His name is Adrian. Put his arm around me and said, do you play American football? I said, yes, with wide eyes. And he said, great. We're having tryouts tomorrow for our American football team. You should come. And it's different in Ireland. Football season is in the spring as opposed to in the fall. So I was there spring semester. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll be there. I'm nervous as hell, Kyle, for the next 12 hours. Like, because I figured that it was like super, super serious. Like, I just came from 2 semesters of high intensity college football, even though it was D2. I get there, and trust me, this is no slight on any of the people that I played with or anything like that. Their skill level was steps below me because they don't start playing until they're 19, 20, 21. Like, it was a club team. So they had players that were in their 30s. I started playing football when I was 5 years old. So my skill level was just beyond theirs. And I get in and they're like, you have to play for us. You're amazing. I played linebacker and running back. I was mostly a linebacker when I was over there. And I made the team, and it is nothing like American football. We were like, I don't know if I should even be saying this, but on the way back from games, we would be like drinking and we'd be singing songs, and practice was like 1 time a week, 2 times a week. Like, we would go out before games and things like it was just so fun. But I met lifelong friends. The guy that wrapped his arm around me, Adrian, he was actually in my wedding, which was amazing. He's one of my greatest and dearest friends, much like you. And that experience to me was amazing because I got to experience this culture. I went to other countries. I went to Rome. I went to Germany. I went to Scotland, like all these places. And it made me grow up a lot and realize who I wanted to be. And if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be where I am right now.
Yeah, I think when people get out of their kind of that safe space, their little bubble, their hometown, their home school, all their friends, like, it changes you and it helps you grow up real fast. So
And I
I
did.
was, so because you had that opportunity, I thought it would be cool to touch on, because it definitely changes and it gives you a little insight. Also, as Dayton the beer drinker, does Ireland have anything to do with your love for beer?
Yeah. So I never drank until I went to Ireland. I was 19 years old, 20 years old, something like that. Never drank in high school. I maybe had like a sip or 2 every now and again. It just wasn't for me. When I went over there, the center of campus was a bar. Every single night we were there listening to music, and they corrupted me. So thank you, Ireland, for my love of beer. Appreciate
So
you
the
guys. You're the
stereotype is
best.
true.
It is true. Yep. Very,
18
very true.
drinking age?
18 is the drinking age. And like I said, I think I was there 19, 20, something like that.
That's cool. Cool. All right. So we got a little fun other stuff. Obviously, we want to talk about fitness. It is a fitness podcast. So I wanted to circle back, tell a really cool story about how you ended up not becoming a physical therapy. And I know we've even talked about this on the show before about how you ended up becoming a personal trainer. But what did that look like for you? Like, how did you get your kind of self off the ground? You get out of college, this young guy, no experience. What did that look like for you?
So after college, graduated again, didn't know what I wanted to do, applied for physical therapy, didn't work out. My girlfriend, now wife, was set to go to her master's, right? Master's. No. This was before her master's. So she lived outside of Rhode Island. So I moved to Rhode Island, got a job at Boston Sports Club, and started working as a personal trainer. And I really liked it. I was certified. And then when she decided to get her master's, we moved to Connecticut because that was the program that she chose. And I started working at Health Tracks, and I had no experience. I was like 8 months deep in personal training, and I loved it. It was great. I was learning so much. I had fantastic mentors, took me under their wing and just kind of taught me the ways. So that's kind of how I got started. It was just like, hey, I'm athletic and I'm good at fitness. Maybe I should do this, which is a horrible way to get into fitness, by the way. For any of you listening out there, if you like exercising, that's not necessarily the best way to get into fitness. Am I right?
No, absolutely not. I think, or yes, you are absolutely right. It is the worst way to get in. I think a lot of people do. We love fitness. Like the high school jock, like became the personal trainer 10 years ago, and it was like, ooh, no.
I would say that's like 10% of people that's like, I love fitness, will continue that love after 10 years. And that's no slight on anybody who loves fitness. It's not.
Oh, you can love something and not do it for a living. I would actually argue that the things that you truly love, you probably shouldn't do for a living. Because the truth is, like, I truly love like helping people, but when I did it for a living, it was overwhelming for me. I like burned myself out. So by helping trainers help people, I still help my passion without the burnout. So like that kind of the same idea, right?
Yep.
Anyways, so you find Health Tracks through, like, you moved to Connecticut and then you just stumbled on Health Tracks?
Yeah, I just went on Indeed. I applied. I went in for an interview. Everybody still always makes fun of me. I wore a suit and tie to my interview for a tier 1 personal trainer making $25 an hour. I was interviewed. The director at the time, shout out Matt Wright, was like, yep, we'll call you. We'll set up a second interview for you and a third interview. I was like, wow, that went really great. I was maybe 10 minutes down the road and he called me and he said, yeah, we're going to skip all those other pieces. We're going to hire you right now. And I was like, cool. And like, I just never looked back. Like, that meant so much to me that I skipped all the other pieces. And Matt, if you ever listen to these, if there were any other pieces and you just told me that, like, it still meant a lot to me.
Starting out on the right foot, whether he was telling the truth or not.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Good, right.
Right. It made me feel good. And it made me feel like I could be a part of the team and I could make a difference as a 22, 23-year-old.
That's a cool story. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So you got to skip your other interviews, got hired.
Yep. No Fred interview, just Matt.
Oh, Fred. Shout out Fred.
Yeah. Kyle knows Fred.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so you're at Health Tracks for a little while. What is your fitness journey like? Because obviously now we're familiar with you as the big boss man, for a lack of better terms.
I just rolled my eyes for anybody that is not watching this. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know. But now that I don't work with you, I get to call you the big shot because
I hate it, and Kyle knows I hate it. All right, so I started 8 years ago at Health Tracks as a tier 1 coach. I don't want to say quickly, but within 3 to 6 months, I moved to a tier 2. There was an opening for a head trainer. We didn't have one and we needed one. So I decided to apply to that. I ended up getting the head trainer position. It's a little bump in salary. You get a little bit more commission. It's only a couple extra hours every single week. Our director at the time, Matt, had ended up leaving. I applied for the director position and ended up getting that and a tier 3 personal training bonus or tier. And then Kyle and I, after that, when was this, Kyle? Probably 2018, 2019, that you and I were both promoted to senior directors of fitness.
Yeah, I think I came back from Raleigh in the fall of 2018.
And after that, we closed for COVID, unfortunately, for quite a while. And then it was probably 5 months after we came back that my center closed down. I've talked about this quite a bit. We opened up a personal training studio. And then in March of last year, 2022, I was offered the assistant VP of fitness position. So I took that. So my role at Health Tracks is I manage a direct center in North Haven, Connecticut. And my role is I help all of the directors and personal trainers. This is going to sound like very, very one-sided, but make more money. Like, I want you to affect directors, affect your personal trainers affect your clients. And if you do that and you create results, you make more money. I hate to break it down into just money, but if I can help you make results for people, create results, deliver results, you're obviously going to make more money. So how can I make you live the best life that you can with however much you want to make, how much you want to work? If I do that and you are happy and you stay with us for a long time and I create programs that you're excited about, I can give you support, then I feel like my job and my role at Health Tracks is fulfilled. If you come back to me and you're like, hey, after 3 months, after doing your workshop, after meeting with you, I was full time, or I'm making, or I'm seeing the number of clients that I want to, I'm happy. This was a question someone asked me yesterday when I was in Raleigh. They said, do you miss personal training? Kyle, what do you think my answer was?
No.
Why was it no? Do you know the answer?
I don't know the answer.
Okay. So personal training is like this. I'm one person. If I'm training people for 40 hours every single week, on average, that's probably between 15 and 20 clients. What?
Well, I was just gonna say you can't help more than that many people in the
Correct. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
I can't help more than that many people. If I have 17 centers that I can help and affect, so I have 17 directors that I can speak to. Those 17 directors on average have 20 personal trainers. Imagine how many more people that I can affect.
Oh, it's exponential.
It's exponential. And they can take that knowledge, whether or not it's with us as a company or somewhere else, and use that and create a legacy for themselves. I have always been the person that I don't need you to tell me that I did a good job or thank you, or, after doing that you said, I was able to do this. That doesn't mean anything to me because I can see the numbers. I can see how many more personal training sessions you're doing. I can see how many more hours you're working. I can see how much more money that you're making. I can see the look on your face, how happy you are because you have more clients and the lives that you're affecting. And that's why I do what I do. If I can make people enjoy every single day that they walk into the gym, whether it be members, clients, or team members, then I did my job correctly. And that's really why I'm still here. And I couldn't
awesome.
imagine doing anything else. I really couldn't, because I don't know what I would be good at, but I know I'm good at fitness and I'm good at helping people help people.
That's awesome. So with that, actually, one of the main questions, I have two things left for us. One serious and one fun. All right.
Okay.
So serious, this is a good transition because you dropped the word in that was your legacy. So obviously you gave us a little insight into like what you're passionate about, kind of what that legacy looks like. But at the end of the day, what is your legacy?
Ooh, man. All right. This is a bombshell. So I'll say again, I don't need anybody to ever say thank you, although it is appreciated. If I see you with a smile on your face when I come into the gym and you're training clients and you're happy because I was able to give you a little bit of guidance, that's my legacy. If it was one word or if it was 3 years of meeting together, if I can make your experience as a personal trainer or coach better, then that is what I want my legacy to be. Like just one thought, like, hey, Dayton said this to me 10 years ago and it helped me. Cool. But you don't have to say thank you to me. But if they think it and they know it, that's good enough for me. Does that make sense? Like
No, totally.
I've never been the person like the rah. We talk about this. I'm not the rah. Like you don't have to be like, Dayton, you're the best. I love you. Like you did that. I don't need that, but I can see it in you that you're doing better because of something that maybe Kyle or I helped you with. That's important to me.
Yep.
And then the last question was, you said one more thing.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually ask you the question yet. I just said there was serious and a fun one, so I wanted to end on the fun one. So that was your legacy, and then I just wanted to end it with a fun fact about you that maybe we don't know about, and you don't get to use that you're a giant nerd and have a game room because we did a whole episode about that already.
All right, so just one fun fact.
Sure. I mean, I'll take multiples, but
All right, couple of things that I can think of off the top of my head. My mother and father were DJs for a very long time. 80s and 90s, they worked at radio stations. So my music tastes come from my mother and father. They still go to concerts all the time. They're awesome. Shout out mom and dad. I know that you listen. Hi, Mike. Hi, Susie. Other things. Hi, Mike and Susie. I'm a black belt in martial arts. I've always enjoyed martial arts. Again, I think it's one of the reasons that I'm, a respectable person and I have good morals and things like that. And then the last one, fun fact, I hate the beach. Do not take me to the beach ever. I hate sand on me. Sun is burning my skin. I hate the feeling of salt on my body. So if you ever want me to come hang out with you, Kyle, I know you love the beach. Don't take me to the beach, man. I won't do it.
Well, that's good to know, because literally my whole life is the beach.
I know it is. And I did that one for you. No beach, man.
What about bars on the beach? Does that count?
That's okay as long as I can keep my shoes on.
Because we did beach bars when you were here, but we just didn't do the sand. Is that the deal?
Yeah, it's like things on my skin that I don't like. I have like sensory issues. And if you ever see my mom again, because I know that she's in Florida too, Kyle, like you remember this. Did she tell you the story about how I used to touch things and go up there and be like, like dirt and stuff? No.
Okay,
so when I was
and then let's wrap it up.
All right. So when I was a kid, when I would play outside and I would like play in dirt or play in sand and stuff would get on my hands, like dirt, sand, I wouldn't touch my hands and I would run up to her and be like, help me get this off. And I still have that to this day. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I feel gross. Like I don't want to touch it and wipe it off. Like anytime there's something on my hands, like I won't touch like raw chicken. I hate eating chicken wings like with my hands. It's weird. I know. I'm a goober.
All right. Well, that's my favorite fun fact about you for sure. So
Dayton's a goober.
Yes. Now there's a whole lot more to know about Dayton, but no one wants to hear us talk about you for a half an hour. So
no one.
Those were good. It's good. It's good to know who we're listening to all this time. So,
hey, we're gonna do Kyle pretty soon too. We're gonna ask you a bunch of questions, buddy.
Oh God, I'm real nervous about that.
No, don't be.
I don't like talking about myself.
Well, you're gonna have to because I'm gonna interview you. Bye, everybody.
About myself. See ya.